This is Word on the Street with Joey Hudson, powered by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
There's nothing more American than American Legion baseball, and after a 3-year absence, the Greenville Post 3 Warbirds will be back on the field in 2025. Joining us today is a guy who will be leading the team, Coach Brian Remsburg. Welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on, Joey. Really excited about the Warbirds returning.
It is a pleasure, Brian. All right, I first want to give a special thanks to Ingles Markets, who's been very supportive of making this season happen. I understand they're a big supporter of the communities, and when I first learned about this, it was from Melissa Level, the Ingles marketing director, and she is very excited about Ingles' role in supporting the return of American Legion baseball, so special thanks to Ingles. Let's start with a little history of American Legion baseball and the history in the upstate of South Carolina specifically.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's been around for a long time. You've got the Posts that have sponsored these baseball teams for almost 100 years now. Actually 1925 is when American Legion baseball started, and you've got a number of Posts that are still active here. You know, not just Greenville, of course. Restarting here, you got Anderson, Easley, Golden Strip, Greenwood, Inman, Spartanburg. 28 teams in all here in the state. Yeah,
wow. Talk with us about the league, and as you said, how many teams? 21?
There's 28 senior league teams, and that's kids up to age 19, and a majority of which are going to be the top juniors and seniors at local high schools. And so the league that we're going to join, we're going to be playing against Anderson, Easley, Golden Strip, and Greenwood.
Okay.
But there's a lot of really good baseball here in the upstate.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing about, first off, everybody loves baseball. It's an all-American sport. But don't you think that American Legion is just kind of super special? I mean, I hear about the veterans. They adopt these young players in the summer. I mean, what a great experience, right?
Oh, it's unbelievable. And that's actually kind of where, that got me started here. I grew up playing in Michigan for Chief Pontiac Post. And I remember a guy named Garwood Vanna, the guy was a World War II vet that was out there. And these guys they really do adopt you as your own. It's not just the parents and the girlfriends that show up for the games. It's these veterans. And it's so supportive. And, these kids that are going to be playing for our Post, they haven't experienced that yet. And I think it's going to be a kind of a shock to the system. And it gives you a lot of pride in the way you conduct yourself in the field. You are absolutely trying to hold yourself to a higher standard just because of who you're playing for.
Yeah. Coach Brian is with us today. And, of course, we're talking about the American Legion Greenville Post 3 Warbirds. Give us sort of a behind-the-scenes view of how you recruit your players, the process of kind of bringing the Warbirds back.
Yeah, so it all started back in October. I reached out to the Post and said, hey, guys, what happened to the baseball team? Can we get this baseball team back? And I got a really nice response right away from the commander. Kurt Conover has been super supportive, huge baseball guy. He and his wife are actually drive season ticket holders. So that was a good start for us. From there, we approached the state and the state American Legion group, and they said, gosh, this is great. You know, what's American Legion baseball in South Carolina if you don't have a team in Greenville? So we're excited about it. And from there, I find out the schools that we're able to recruit from. Every Post has a recruiting base. Generally 5-6 public schools and any privates that are in that area, up to 7,000 enrollment. And the enrollment only counts sophomores through seniors. And so about 7,000. And for us, that means recruiting at Greenville High, JL Mann, Carolina, Southside, as well as Christchurch and St. Joe's. And so for me, I do have some relationships with those head baseball coaches. Mm-hmm. And so it's just kind of been slow, reach out, try to teach these kids what American Legion baseball is, what it means to play for the Post. And it's high-level baseball. You know, I think a lot of people know about travel baseball now and these perfect games and these things that parents are paying thousands of dollars for their kids to play. I think that's the beauty of American Legion. It's very pure. It's a high-level baseball. These are essentially high school all-star teams, right, coming together.
Right.
And the Post underwrites almost all of it. And you mentioned Ingles earlier. They're going to pay for us to play out at Firmin's Latham Field, which is pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
They've done a great job keeping that facility in shape. Yeah, they lost the program a few years ago, right? But they still maintain the field out there because they've got club baseball and they use it for other camps. So we're really excited about it, and none of this happens without the support of the American Legion. I'll just tell you, it's probably a $6,000 to $8,000 up front when you talk about the uniforms, the baseballs, the field rentals, everything that comes with it. But we'll chip away at that with some small sponsorships and ticket sales at the games, and they're only $5. So we'd love to anybody that's listening that loves baseball, I'd definitely encourage you to come out and check out a game this summer.
Yeah. With me today, Coach Brian. We're talking American Legion baseball. How many games will you have? And I mean, that's big news that you guys at your home field will be out at Latham Field.
Yeah, we're really excited about being out there, Firmin. It's going to be somewhere in that 15 to 20 games, and then depending on how far you go in the playoffs, there's a state tournament at Francis Marion, and then if you win that, you go to region, and we dream a little bit, maybe not this first year startup, but the World Series is actually just up the road in Shelby. And so it definitely encourage people. I've made that drive a couple of times, and the end of that is actually on ESPN. You can catch those games there. So start small here. We'll be playing the Post from Anderson, Easley, Golden Strip, and Greenwood, and we will play Greer a couple times. They're not in our league, but why wouldn't we play them just around the corner? They've got a beautiful facility.
Sure.
So just really looking forward to getting started.
Yeah. And this is a special year for American Legion baseball, too, because it turns 100 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you look at it. They claim 87 Hall of Famers have played American Legion baseball.
Wow.
And as many as 10 million kids have played American Legion baseball. You could go back over 100 years. And some of the names pretty familiar: Yogi Berra, Ted Williams, Bob Feller, Albert Pujols, and then upstate native Jim Rice as well, who played for the Anderson Post and went into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2009. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Fun fact.
Yeah. Coach, if there's someone listening today who just loves baseball and wants to help, are there opportunities for volunteers and all?
Absolutely. We'd love to have you. We're looking for scorekeepers, concession workers, ticket sellers, and just fans to come out. You can find us on Facebook, Greenville Warbirds. Look for Greenville Post 3's page. They'll have it on there. And in a Google search, we've got a really nice website set up with the full schedule, and you'll find our contact info on there. So looking forward to seeing a lot of baseball fans out there at Firmin this summer.
Yeah. Coach, congratulations. Appreciate your time today, and we look forward to following the Warbirds throughout the season.
Thanks so much, Joey.
Coach Brian Remsburg, again, the coach of the Greenville Post 3 Warbirds, the newest edition of the American Legion baseball in upstate South Carolina. And again, a special thanks to our friends at Ingalls Market. This is just another good example of how Melissa Level and the team at Ingalls Markets gives back to our communities. They care about the communities they serve. Ingalls employees live in those communities. They care about their neighbors in need. We talked a good bit about how Ingalls responded to the terrible damage in western North Carolina and upstate South Carolina as far as Hurricane Helene. Ingalls Markets donates food, resources to many local food banks. They help the Humana Society and many other pet adoption services. They help the Upstate Warrior Solution, where you'll see Bill Frady one Wednesday every month broadcasting from there. There's just a long list of the great things that Ingalls does, other than selling some wonderful groceries as well. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
This is Word on the Street with Joey Hudson on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.